I think the proposed police station in the ByWard market is not a good idea. It's very frustrating to hear them phrase it as a community hub when only one of the partners is extremely well funded and well armed, and there's no real discussion of whether they are effective at providing community safety. The shop is going to cost $200 million. With a fraction of that, we could house everybody who's experiencing homelessness in the ByWard market. Like it's ridiculous priorities. There was a study recently. They did a huge study of various metro areas. They found that there was no consistent relationship between lower crime and higher police budgets, and that's exactly what we keep doing. For the last 2 decades, police spending's gone up and up. We're not feeling any safer. We should try something different.
It feels like to me that we're addressing a poverty, a housing issue, substance use and addiction and mental health issue through enforcement. And so evaluating it from a policy perspective, it doesn't feel like we're actually tackling the issue. And what we're saying is that homeless people or people that have challenges with substance use or mental health are scary and need to be enforced, rather than actually looking at the root causes of the issue.
I just think it's ridiculous. A police station down here, we don't need more policing. Absolutely. What we need to do is fix problems, get some social housing, get these people off the streets. There's fentanyl overdoses everywhere. It's an epidemic. It's sick. I'm seeing it from here. I've watched documentaries from Vancouver all the way through, to the United States. It's an epidemic everywhere, and it's reaching the capital, and it's bad. There's people, they're not getting help. What these people need to do is get help. Get integrated back into society is what we need. We can't fix anybody else's problems until we fix home. And I think that's where the issue lies. We don't need a police station. We can police ourselves down here. What we need to do is help fix the problem. That's a waste of taxpayers' dollars, and I just don't think it's fair.
I think that a project like this really just denies the ability for real positive change to happen. It only delays that a time when that can happen. And like we've already seen that really, I think the only purpose that this police station is being made is to further criminalize and push our vulnerable homeless population out of the city core, which has already been done near Parliament, which has pushed all of the people that don't have access to stable housing into this area around the ByWard market. And I think this is really will only further push people further away from the city core. And I don't think that's any positive change. I think that'll only delay the opportunity for change. And who knows that in 5 years they might be proposing, we'll have to build a new police station in Vanier or further into Sandy Hill because of, now we have a homeless population and we need to deal with that. So I really don't think it's a positive way to look at the issues facing Ottawa right now.
Yeah, I mean, I foresee the potential consequences as increased criminalization of folks who, again, are experiencing challenges with poverty, access to resources, mental health, substance use, and how all these things are entwined. I think that we're seeing how colonial systems have worked in the past and are continuing to work exactly how they're supposed to work. Through law and order, and having folks in this community being further entrenched within these very powerful systems. I foresee that the root causes or the problems that we're trying to address here in the community aren't actually going to be addressed in the way that they should be appropriately, and that we're going to see, again, increases of overrepresentation of Indigenous folks and people of color and marginalized folks in this community that are entering into the criminal justice system, incarceration, and not necessarily receiving the support and services that they need.
There are a lot of things this community does need, and it's a long list, and more policing is not on that list. I've seen deterioration of social services, of affordable housing, of transit, of affordable food. And those are the kinds of things that we need a lot more of. Just in the time that I've been living in the market, I've seen the amount of farmer stalls, for example, being gradually eroded and replaced with more parking. And that's kind of sums up the ethos of what we're seeing in this neighborhood. And even just right behind us here, there's more unaffordable housing going in right where there used to be one of the more affordable grocery stores in the neighborhood, which was also a unionized workplace. And that is just one of a long list of examples of the kind of just not even mismanagement, because this is clearly by design. We have a city that is comically and tragically really just three developers in a trench coat. That's how our city operates, and I think most people know that. Even the folks on city council who deny that and get funding from developers, they know it all too well. And that's the big problem. We need to remember there are villains in this story, and it's the developers who are driving people out of housing. It's the companies like Loblaws that are gouging food prices over and over again. And where are the police when Loblaws next jacks up its prices and shrinks what's in the food that people are buying? They're not arresting Loblaws CEOs. The next time wildfire smoke rolls into town, rolls into the neighborhood, are the police going to go and arrest the Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers, whose office is a short walk from here? No, it's the people who are suffering from all of these impacts of corporations and the 1% running the show of all levels of government, including City Council here in Ottawa.
My thoughts on the new police station being built are just that it feels fundamentally like a mismanagement of funds. My understanding is the issues that are looking to be tackled with this are homelessness and drug use, which are admittedly quite rampant in this community, but what I see making a difference is the work of Shepherds of Good Hope and the Ottawa Mission, the safe injection sites. It's not the police presence that's making a positive impact on the community. It's these community centers such as this. I think it just, on a fundamental level, it just, like I said, a misuse of funds. There's so many better things it could be used for. I mean, we're in a city where the transit is notoriously horrible, and yet for some reason we're building a new police station. We have, Shepherds of Good Hope and the Ottawa Mission, which do great work but don't seem to be getting the funding they deserve. It is just on a baseline visceral reaction level, it just feels like a poor choice.
Where I think the money should be going and where the city should be spending money, again, looking at it from a policy perspective and the problem that we're trying to address within this community, that this money should be going to address poverty, access to food, housing, increasing access to funds, appropriate mental health care, substance use care. There's a severe disconnect between the need for substance use services, housing, mental health supports in our community versus what we're getting. I think a community-based approach is valuable to strengthening our community, and that the community ultimately understands what they need. So to see community agencies being bolstered through funding, seeing more affordable housing, seeing more services being available that have a harm reduction approach, and an approach that isn't geared towards the kind of the moral understanding of what's good and bad when it comes to mental health and substance use and experiencing and living in entrenched houselessness, that's where I would really love to see the money going.
I'd like to see the money going to the Ottawa Mission, going to Shepherds of Good Hope, going to these community-built organizations that really are helping the community and helping the people, not just because, even the people struggling with these issues are people in this community. There's a lot of, also actually I'd say the biggest thing is affordable housing. That just is not present here. Rent is insane and nothing's really being done to tackle that, and yet the solution is the new police station. It feels like the people making the decisions are very separate from the people who are actually in need of help.
So since the pandemic, there's definitely been an increase in people experiencing homelessness, clearly people struggling with addictions, and there's been a real lack of anything coming from the city to really address that. Mostly what I've been seeing, in addition to this new police station and pledges for more enforcement of problematic individuals, is a lot of very expensive high-rise condos going up along Rideau Street. This to me screams of gentrification. The solution is to claim that the community is getting better, even though a huge number of people are being excluded from that definition of community, and they're just going to be swept aside while we make way for more expensive rentals and nice places to eat. And we could be focusing on social housing and housing first, and that would help everybody very directly.
Creating a new police station only kind of further entrenches these ideas in people. They say, it can't, it's thinking of it as a dangerous area or not safe at all. I think that it really does the opposite of what we should be doing, is bringing the community together into this space. And I think as a young person here, it would be lovely to have a vibrant space where people can walk and feel like part of a community, and there's not so many cars. I think the ByWard market has so many cars. It's very car heavy for, I don't think that does anything to promote a central community space. So I think, a whole, redesigning this area to be more people friendly, not only to those on the streets, but to those who want to come to this area.
But when we talk about safety for who? When someone has to live on the street, if they're going through an addiction or homelessness, that's not safe for them either. And so if we're only policing them, we're keeping some people feeling safe while other people are very explicitly not safe. And so if they had good, stable housing, good supports, access to community and jobs, they would be much safer, and I think the whole community would be safer, and we could have everybody able to take part in it and its vibrancy. So to me, that's a real solution for safety and community, instead of just trying to move people out of sight, out of mind. As long as we don't see them, it's not a problem.
Some of the things that I really see a lot of every day is, it's basic needs is what it comes down to. A lot of the folks who are accessing services where I work, they don't have a place to call home, a place to feel like they have dignity, can receive compassionate care without being judged, constantly living in stigma and marginalization. And it feels like there's a lot of disjointed connection within the community already right now. People don't know where to go for support. And we have people experiencing extreme amount of distress, of trauma, that are coming to where I work, and the environment in which that they're coming to access these supports in also isn't necessarily the appropriate place for them to receive that community care and the right care for them. So what I'm seeing a lot is just the effects of austerity, the effects of moving away from community and actually bolstering community. And then that plays out, especially with poverty as well. This plays out in the experience of that we see with mental health, with substance use, what houselessness and homelessness and the extended experience of that, what that feels like when folks who are without a home, that are homeless, that they're waiting 2 years on a list to receive an offer. Living 2 years in this environment, that in itself continues to perpetuate people's lived experience and something on top of what they have to work on to heal from as well. And so these are some of the things that I'm seeing when it comes to talking about funding and access and looking at these root causes of the problem